Part 3. Nathalie's apartment is everything Odessa expected. Bright, modern, and expensive. The kind of place someone with a stable income and family money can afford at 23. It makes Odessa's rental house feel shabby by comparison. Nathalie herself looks fragile and beautiful in the way that only pregnant women can. She's wearing expensive maternity clothes and has that pregnancy glow everyone talks about. She looks like she stepped out of a magazine about stylish, expectant mothers. Elias tells me you offered to help while I'm on bed rest, Nathalie says, gesturing for Odessa to sit on the pristine white couch. That's really nice of you, but I don't want to impose. It's not an imposition. I know the situation is complicated, but we're all connected now. Connected how? Odessa looks at Elias, who's suddenly very interested in his phone. Clearly, he still hasn't told Nathalie about the pregnancy. Elias, don't you have something to share? He looks up from his phone like a deer caught in headlights. I was going to ease into it. Ease into what? Nathalie asks, and Odessa can hear the suspicion creeping into her voice. Odessa is pregnant too. With my baby. Before we continue, have you subscribed yet? Hit that button for more amazing stories and mark the register by commenting which country you're watching from. Today's shout out goes to Vanessa Harden Hill. Oh my goodness, your comments always make my day. Thank you for watching and commenting. Now, back to the story. The silence that follows is deafening. Nathalie stares at Elias, then at Odessa, then back at Elias. I'm sorry, what? It happened right before the divorce, Elias explains. We just found out a couple weeks ago. You just found out that your ex-wife is pregnant with your baby, and you didn't think to mention it to me? I was trying to protect you. You've been having complications, and I didn't want to stress you out. You didn't want to stress me out, so you hid the fact that you're having a baby with another woman? Nathalie's voice is getting louder, and Odessa can see the anger building in her face. Nathalie, please think about your blood pressure, Elias says. Don't you dare tell me to think about my blood pressure while you're telling me you've been lying to me for weeks. Odessa realizes she needs to intervene before this conversation destroys any chance of the three of them coexisting peacefully. I know this is a shock. It was a shock for all of us. But we're all going to be raising Elias's children, so we need to find a way to work together. Nathalie turns to look at her with something approaching fury. We are not going to be raising anything together. I am going to be raising my child with Elias. You are going to be raising your child as a single mother. That's not how this works, Odessa says, feeling her own anger rising. Elias is the father of both babies. He has responsibilities to both of us. Actually, he has a responsibility to me and my child. You two are divorced. You have no claim on him anymore. I have a claim on him as the father of my baby. A baby that was conceived during a marriage that failed because you two couldn't make it work. Why would adding a child to that dynamic make it better? Nathalie has a point, but Odessa isn't ready to concede it. Because people can change. Because becoming parents changes your priorities. It certainly changes mine. My priority is creating a stable home for my child with his father, not sharing that father with his ex-wife who can't let go. The accusation stings because it's partially true. Odessa is having trouble letting go, but she's also fighting for her child's right to have a father, even if that child doesn't actually exist. This isn't about letting go, Odessa says. This is about what's best for the children. What's best for my child is having parents who want to be together, not parents who are together because of some misguided sense of obligation. Elias, who has been sitting quietly during this exchange, finally speaks up. Can we all just take a breath here? We don't have to figure everything out tonight. Actually, we do. Because I'm not sharing you, Elias. I'm not going to be part of some weird polygamous family where you split your time between two pregnant women. It's not polygamous. We're not asking you to marry both of us. You're asking me to share the father of my child with a woman who lied about being pregnant to get him back. The accusation hits so close to home that Odessa feels like she might faint. I didn't lie about anything. Didn't you? Isn't it convenient that you discovered you were pregnant right after Elias started dating me seriously? Isn't it strange that you went months without realizing you were pregnant, but figured it out right when you needed a reason for him to come back? Odessa looks at Elias for support, but he's staring at his hands. That's not what happened, she says weakly. Then prove it, Nathalie challenges. Show me the pregnancy test. Show me your doctor's appointment confirmation. Show me anything that proves you're actually pregnant. Odessa realizes she's trapped. She can't produce any real evidence because there isn't any. I don't have to prove anything to you. You do if you want me to believe you, and if you want Elias to keep believing you. Elias finally looks up. Nathalie, that's enough. Odessa is pregnant. I've seen the test. A test that anyone could fake. A test that she could have taken months ago and saved for exactly this moment. The room falls silent again. Odessa can feel both of them staring at her, waiting for her to defend herself against accusations that are completely accurate. I think I should go, she says finally. I think that's a good idea, Nathalie agrees. Elias walks her to the door, and Odessa can see the doubt creeping into his eyes. She's just upset, he says. She doesn't mean it. Doesn't she? Odessa, you are pregnant, right? You wouldn't lie about something like that. The question hangs in the air between them. This is her chance to come clean, to admit the truth and try to salvage some dignity from this situation. But the thought of losing him again, of going back to her empty house and her empty life, is too overwhelming. Of course I'm pregnant, she says. How could you even ask me that? I'm sorry. You're right. Nathalie just got in my head. Maybe you should think about why your girlfriend's first instinct is to accuse me of lying. What does that say about the kind of person she is? It's a desperate attempt to deflect, but it seems to work. Elias looks troubled. She's just scared, he says. This is all happening so fast. We're all scared, but we can't let fear make us turn against each other. Elias nods, but Odessa can see that Nathalie has planted seeds of doubt that will be hard to uproot. As she drives home, Odessa realizes her situation has become untenable. She can't maintain the pregnancy lie indefinitely, especially not with Nathalie actively suspicious. But she also can't admit the truth without losing Elias completely. She needs a new plan, something that will secure her place in his life without requiring her to produce a baby she's not actually carrying. But as she sits in her empty house, surrounded by pregnancy books and baby magazines, Odessa begins to wonder if she's already lost everything that really matters. Her integrity, her self-respect, her ability to distinguish between love and obsession. Maybe Nathalie is right. Maybe what she's doing isn't about love at all. Maybe it's about control, about winning, about refusing to accept that sometimes people leave and don't come back, no matter how hard you fight for them. But even as these thoughts cross her mind, Odessa pushes them away. She's come too far to give up now. She'll find a way to make this work. She has to. Because the alternative, admitting she's been lying and manipulating her way back into a relationship with a man who doesn't really want her, is too devastating to contemplate. Tomorrow, she'll figure out her next move. Tonight, she'll just try to sleep and dream of a world where love really can conquer everything, even lies and desperation, and the terrible things we do when we're afraid of being alone. The pregnancy charade collapses on a Tuesday morning when Odessa wakes up bleeding. Not pregnant bleeding. She's never been pregnant. But stress bleeding. The kind that comes from 3 months of living in a constant state of anxiety, barely eating, and taking prenatal vitamins that make her nauseous when she's not actually pregnant. She stares at the blood on her underwear and realizes this is it. This is how her elaborate lie ends. Not with a dramatic confession or getting caught in a hospital, but with her body betraying the fiction she's been living. "Elias," she calls from the bathroom, her voice shaking. "I think something's wrong." He appears in the doorway, still half asleep. It's 6 a.m. and he actually slept at her house last night for the first time in a week. Natalie's been stable enough that he doesn't need to be there constantly anymore, but he still spends most nights at her apartment. "What is it?" "I'm bleeding." She holds up her underwear as evidence, and the panic in his eyes looks genuine. "How much? Are you cramping?" "A little. I don't know what this means." Within an hour, they're sitting in the emergency room. Odessa has never felt like more of a fraud in her entire life. She's taking up space and resources for a medical emergency that doesn't exist, but she can't figure out how to get out of this situation without confessing everything. "Mrs. Morrison," a nurse calls her name. She hasn't changed it back from her married name yet, though she probably should have months ago. "It's actually Miss Chen now," she corrects automatically, then realizes her mistake. If she's supposedly pregnant with Elias's baby, why would she have changed her name back? The nurse doesn't seem to notice the inconsistency, but Elias gives her a strange look. In the examination room, Odessa finds herself in a paper gown waiting for an ultrasound that will expose her lie. There's no way out now. No last-minute reprieve. No miracle that will make her actually pregnant. "So, you're about 10 weeks along?" the ultrasound technician asks, squirting gel onto Odessa's abdomen. "That's what we calculated," Elias answers when Odessa can't find her voice. The technician moves the wand around Odessa's belly, and they all stare at the screen. Odessa knows what they're not seeing. A baby, a heartbeat, any sign of pregnancy at all. The technician says after several minutes of searching. "I'm not picking up anything on the abdominal ultrasound. Let's try transvaginal to get a better look." Odessa wants to disappear into the floor. She wants to run out of the hospital in her paper gown and never see either of these people again. Instead, she nods and submits to the more invasive procedure, knowing it will only confirm what she already knows. "I'm not seeing evidence of pregnancy," the technician says finally, her voice gentle but matter-of-fact. "No gestational sac, no fetal development. Have you had a quantitative HCG blood test recently?" "No," Odessa whispers. "We'll want to run one to confirm, but based on what I'm seeing here, you're not currently pregnant. It's possible you had a very early miscarriage, or the initial test could have been a false positive." Elias is staring at the blank ultrasound screen like he can will a baby into existence through sheer force of concentration. "But she had symptoms," he says. "Morning sickness, fatigue. She's been taking prenatal vitamins." "Those symptoms can have other causes. Stress, dietary changes, anxiety. The mind is powerful. If someone believes they're pregnant, their body can sometimes manifest symptoms." The technician's words are like knives. Each one cuts through the elaborate fiction Odessa has built, leaving her exposed and bleeding in ways that have nothing to do with her physical condition. So there was never a baby? Elias asks. Not that I can detect, but let's wait for the blood work to be certain. 2 hours later, they're sitting in Elias's car in the hospital parking lot. The blood test confirmed what the ultrasound showed. No pregnancy, no baby, no medical reason for any of the symptoms Odessa has been claiming to experience. I don't understand, he says, and his voice is different now, colder. The pregnancy test was positive. I saw it myself. Odessa stares at her hands. This is the moment where she could come clean, apologize, and try to salvage whatever friendship might be possible from the wreckage of their relationship. But she doubles down. Maybe I had a chemical pregnancy? That's a thing, right? Where you're pregnant just long enough to test positive but then lose it immediately? For 3 months? I don't know how it works. I'm not a doctor. Odessa. His voice is sharp now. Look at me. She forces herself to meet his eyes, and what she sees there terrifies her. Not anger exactly, but something worse. Disgust. The look someone gives a stranger who's tried to scam them out of money. Were you ever pregnant? Yes. I think so. The test was positive. Were you pregnant when I moved back in with you? This is it. The direct question she can't deflect or dodge. The moment where she either confesses or commits fully to the lie. I thought I was? That's not what I asked. Odessa's mind races, trying to find a way out of this corner she's backed herself into. But there isn't one. There's only the truth or a lie, and she's been lying so long that the truth feels impossible. I don't know, she says finally. Maybe I was confused. Maybe I wanted to be pregnant so badly that I convinced myself I was. That's not exactly a confession, but it's close enough that Elias's expression shifts from disgust to approaching pity. Jesus Christ, Odessa. Do you understand what you've done? I didn't do anything on purpose. I genuinely thought. You made me leave Natalie when she was having complications. You made me choose between 2 pregnancies, and one of them didn't exist. I didn't make you do anything. You chose to come back to me. Because I thought you were carrying my child. Would that have been the only reason? Am I only worth staying with if I'm pregnant? That's not the point. The point is that you let me believe something that wasn't true. For months. I believed it too. Did you really? Or did you know exactly what you were doing? The question hangs between them like a loaded gun. Odessa realizes that how she answers will determine whether this conversation ends with forgiveness or complete destruction. I wanted it to be true, she says, which feels like the most honest thing she's said in months. That's not the same thing, isn't it? When you want something badly enough, don't you start to believe it's possible? Not when it involves lying to everyone around you. I didn't lie. I was confused. You were confused for 3 months? You bought pregnancy books, scheduled doctor's appointments, told your mother she was going to be a grandmother. That's not confusion, Odessa. That's deception. Each accusation feels like a physical blow, but Odessa can't deny any of them because they're all true. What do you want me to say? I want you to tell me the truth. For once in this entire messed up situation, I want you to be honest with me. Odessa looks at him. really looks at him and sees a man who's exhausted by her neediness, frustrated by her inability to let go, and disgusted by the lengths she's gone to in order to keep him in her life. She sees a man who never loved her the way she loved him, and probably never will. "The truth is that I couldn't bear to lose you again," she says. "The truth is that I would have done anything to get you back. The truth is that I convinced myself that if you just remembered how good we could be together, you'd choose me over her. And the pregnancy was a way to make that happen. So you were never pregnant?" "No." The word hangs in the air between them like a confession at a murder trial. "Damn," Elias says, leaning back in his seat. "Damn, Odessa. What have you done?" "I've ruined everything." "Yeah, you have." They sit in silence for many minutes. Odessa watches other people walking in and out of the hospital, people with real emergencies, real problems, real lives that don't revolve around elaborate deceptions. "What happens now?" she asks finally. "Now I have to go home and tell Natalie that my ex-wife faked a pregnancy to manipulate me into leaving her when she was on bed rest." "You don't have to tell her that." "What else would I tell her? That it was all a big misunderstanding?" "You could tell her we lost the baby." Elias stares at her like she's suggested they burn down an orphanage. "You want me to lie to her too?" "I want you to protect us both from unnecessary humiliation." "There is no us, Odessa. There hasn't been an us since I filed for divorce. The only reason I came back was because I thought you were pregnant. But we've been happy these past few months. We've been good together. We've been living a lie. I've been splitting my time between two women, one of whom was faking a pregnancy. That's not happiness. That's insanity." Odessa feels the last of her hopes crumbling. She's lost him again, and this time it's final. There's no coming back from this level of betrayal. "Are you going back to her?" "I don't know if she'll take me back after what I've put her through." "But you want to try." "I want to try to be honest for once. I want to stop making decisions based on guilt and obligation and start making them based on what I actually want." "And what do you want?" Elias looks at her with something that might be sadness. "I want to be with someone who doesn't need me to save them, someone who doesn't lie to keep me around, someone who loves me enough to let me go if that's what would make me happy." The words are like a final nail in the coffin of their relationship. Odessa understands now that she never had a chance of winning him back, because the version of love she was offering, desperate, clinging, dishonest, isn't the kind of love anyone actually wants. "I'm sorry," she says, and means it. "I know you are, but sorry doesn't fix this." "What can I do to fix it?" "Nothing. There's nothing you can do to fix this, Odessa. The best thing you can do is get some help. Talk to someone about why you thought this was okay. Figure out how to be happy without me." "I don't know how to be happy without you." "Then learn. Because this," he gestures between them, "this isn't love. This is obsession, and it's not healthy for either of us." Elias starts the car, and they drive back to her house in silence. When he parks in her driveway, Odessa realizes this is probably the last time she'll ever see him. "Are you coming inside?" "No, I'm going to pack my things and go home." "Home to Natalie?" "Home to my apartment. I need to figure out where I stand with her before I make any more promises I can't keep." Odessa nods, understanding that she's lost the right to ask for more information about his plans. "Will you tell me how it goes with her?" "No, Odessa. We're done sharing details about our lives. We're done pretending we're friends. We're done pretending any of this was healthy or normal." This story continues in part 4, my precious viewers.